Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's MarketingBitz webinar. Today's webinar is titled How to Use Mobile Ads to Reach Nearby Customers, and will be brought to you by our guest presenter, Sara Hall of Waze. So before we get started, I just have a few quick announcements. So next slide, please, Sara. So first, I just want to let you all know where this webinar will be archived in case you want to go and find it later. It's going to be on our website, MarketingBitz.com. And you can access it by clicking on the Webinars tab at the top, and then you'll see that the webinars are posted in a chronological order. The site also features a variety of resources to learn about the basics of digital marketing, so feel free to look around. And then just a quick little note, don't forget to join in on Twitter using the hashtag BitzWebinar at the bottom of your screen, or you can tag us at MarketingBitz. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to make an announcement. Our 2017 Bootcamp series is underway, and for those of you who aren't familiar with what Bootcamp is, basically a one-day event where you can come and listen to the experts talk about a variety of digital marketing topics. So some of our past presenters have been people from Google, Yelp, YP, Constant Contact, GoDaddy, and more. Actually have a Bootcamp 1 week from today on May 17th in Nashville. And then we have a boot camp on June 27th in New York City. So if you're interested in attending, or if you live in or near either of these cities, when you're registering at bitzbootcamp.com, just enter the promo code WAZEWebinar for 50% off your registration. So my final note before we get started with the content is if you do have any questions throughout the webinar, we encourage you to ask them. So you can post them in the questions box, which is on the panel on your right side. And we'll go through them once Sara is finished with her presentation. So without further ado, Sara, take it over.
Thank you so much, Becky. Hi, everyone. I'm Sara Hall, and I work for Waze. Waze is the world's largest community-based traffic and navigation application. We use real-time traffic information from our community of drivers to provide the most efficient route, which saves drivers both time and fuel. We have over 70 million users globally each month, with around 20 million in the U.S. And our drivers are so passionate about over 7 hours per month in the app. Our ads platform is entirely local-based. We provide unique opportunities that are 100% in application, and we're owned by Google. So today, we're going to tell you about some mobile consumer trends based on Google research. I'll share with you mobile advertising tips that we've learned, which will help you reach local customers most effectively. And finally, I'll tell you specifically how the location-based ads platform on Waze can help you grow your business. We all know that mobile use is growing. But did you know that Americans now use smartphones and tablets to connect more often than personal computers? In fact, in 2016, the number of smartphone users in the U.S. topped 207 million. Over 90% of Americans report using more than one screen every day. But the mobile phone's different. It's more personal than other screens. In a smartphone study conducted by Google, one user said, "I pretty much call my phone my lifeline. I use it all day, every day. If I ever leave home without it, I feel naked." That's something most people won't say about their computer. Let's all admit there's a powerful connection that goes beyond use as a media device. The relationship with phones is not only personal, but it's pervasive throughout the day. It's as if consumers are speed dating with their mobile phone. A typical user checks their phone 150 times every day. At about 1 minute and 10 seconds for an average session, that's nearly 3 hours of time spent with this very personal device. And the dating metaphor is a really great one for understanding the relationship that people have with their phones in this mobile-first, mobile-everywhere world. In fact, nearly 9 out of 10 people keep their smartphone at their side day and night, with 6 people checking their phone within the first 15 minutes of waking up each morning. This personal and emotional relationship can lead to very complicated emotions. About a third of people get anxious when they don't have their phone with them. So I think we can all admit it's a powerful and emotional piece of technology. But what does this mean for the business owner? Well, the prevalence of mobile phones in our daily lives has led to their use in many, not the least of which is shopping. Why wait when you're back at your desk? You've got your phone with you at all times. In fact, the majority of smartphone users, 58%, now say that they regularly use their smartphone for shopping-related activities. And of those, 2/3 perform shopping functions at least weekly. Historically, people thought maybe there would be privacy concerns or technology concerns with such advanced operations on a mobile phone. But what might have once seemed risky or advanced has certainly become commonplace for smartphone users. And the experience is customized to the mobile phone experience. In fact, the majority of time spent is no longer on the mobile web, but actually spent in applications. 85% of time is spent in apps. And the app world has exploded with tons of options for smartphone consumers. Smartphone users have become comfortable with multiple types of apps to help find their way. And relevantly for our conversation about Waze, 80% of smartphone users commonly use navigation apps. So how can a local business reach these shopping-savvy consumers? And what does it take to be successful? Well, we think there are 3 things you should know that'll help you as a local business succeed in this mobile-first world. First, you've got to be there. With consumers spending so much of their time on mobile phones and in app, they expect businesses to be there too. You've got to find a way to anticipate what we call micro moments, when users will be seeking out a business like yours, and then you need to be there when they're looking. Second, you've got to make sure that your presence is useful. Smartphone users are expecting functional messaging. They want the information they see from business in the moment and to connect them to the answers that they're looking for. And third, it's imperative to be quick. We call these micro moments for a reason. Mobile users are on their smartphones. They're ready to go and buy swiftly. And you need your mobile experience to be fast and frictionless. And so let's go a little bit deeper into what this means. It sounds obvious that it would be ideal to be there. But why do we think it's the first thing you need to know? Well, we've learned that smartphone users are still actively involved in decision-making, even when they're on the go. People no longer research at home on their personal computers and go to the store later. In fact, most of them are now doing research on the fly, and you still have an opportunity to change their decision based on what they find about you on their mobile phones. In fact, 1/3 of users say that they've made a purchase from a business other than the one they intended to, simply because of information that was provided in the moment that they needed. Micro moments matter, and those mobile micro moments can drive business. On Waze, we advise businesses to physically mark their store on the Waze map. That way drivers who are nearby can see what businesses are close to them. And marking your business on Waze gives you the chance to customize and own that, similar to having a billboard outside your store. And speaking of customizing your message, it may seem obvious, but it's very important to be useful. When we say that, we mean that you need to make sure your message is tailored to that mobile micro moment. Smartphone users are on the go, and they can be persuaded if it's considered relevant. In our mobile study, 51% of respondents said that what persuaded them to purchase from a business other than the one they originally intended to was because the message they received was useful. And that level of utility is key. Nearly 2/3 said that getting regular, useful information from a business is the most important attribute when selecting a brand. So keep in mind, smartphone users don't want to sort through irrelevant information. It's not necessarily the right time to amuse them. It's the right time to be useful. And so if you're using location marketing, know that they're nearby. Send them a relevant message. And a local offer with up-to-date pricing, with inventory that's available, is most relevant. And we highly recommend that you customize your offer on mobile for maximum impact. And third, as you think through how to make sure your local messaging resonates with smartphone users, we suggest that you make sure your message is quick. So why does being quick matter? Well, most users on their smartphones, 1/3 even report that they're hurrying as they search for a local business. The easier you can make it for them to see the relevant and useful information, the better. Don't make them sort through all kinds of information when you already know that they're nearby, and if you're focused on advertising an app like Waze, take advantage of the fact that you know they're in a particular mindset, like driving. In fact, on Waze, we suggest that you think in terms of out-of-home style messaging, like a billboard. How can you communicate as clearly as possible with a simple... Smartphones aren't the time for a complicated message, and focusing on utility over entertainment will be most helpful to your users. Make your relevant message easy for the folks who are on the go to understand. And so as you think through how to get your business in front of local smartphone users, keep these 3 tips in mind to maximize the impact of your marketing. Because the opportunity still exists to persuade users who are on the go. Don't pass up the chance to reach local users when their minds are still able to be changed. And as we say, be sure to mark your store on the map. Be useful and tailor your message for the local user who's on the go on their mobile device. Don't just transfer what's on your circular or newspaper ad. And lastly, as you change it, make your message as brief and easy to digest as possible. Don't use the same messaging available elsewhere. Acknowledge that the user is on the go, and tailor to the mobile environment by using simple, digestible messaging. At Waze, we can help you with this. Our local ads platform, Waze Local, is set up to make it simple for small and local businesses to get started and to succeed. We want to help you be present, useful, and quick. There's a lot of opportunity with Waze. As I mentioned before, we have millions of users, and our reach allows businesses of all sorts across the country to reach their local users. Since we're exclusively focused on helping reach drivers as they navigate, we provide a very focused and unique way to talk to people who are nearby and on the go. And lastly, we've made it simple. You can get started with Waze Local for as little as $2 a day with full flexibility. There's no ongoing commitment required. So no matter what you're trying to do, whether it's drive someone into your retail store, your car wash, your restaurant, or small business, we can provide a solution to reach local customers. Our branded pins, like the one from Portillo's in Willowbrook shown here, appear on the map. They mark your business location similar to a digital sign or storefront. And search promotion on Waze allows your business to show at the top of relevant search results, which reach Wazers when they're planning their next drive. It's easy to get started, so don't be afraid. You can reach local customers on Waze in a few simple steps, and our ad wizard will help you all of the way through. You'll just need to enter your business information. You'll choose an icon to represent your business's location on the map, and then you'll set up the details of budget and billing. Your ads will be live on the map within 24 hours, and our dashboard allows you to see how your ad is doing so that you can make changes and optimize. In fact, we're so confident you'll succeed that we're giving a promotional advertising credit of $50 to LSA attendees. All you need to do is use the custom link that you'll receive in your follow-up email, and you can sign up directly on our website. And so in summary, the world is now mobile first, and in fact mobile everywhere, and that includes shopping. We want to recommend you to jump right in and remember these 3 best practices. Make sure that you're there, make sure that you're useful, and make sure that your messaging is quick. We're there to help you and make sure you succeed in reaching local customers. So get on the map today. Again, you'll get a promotional link that you can enter directly into your browser It'll direct you to the Waze Ads Wizard to get you going. All you'll need to do is follow the steps, and soon you'll be on the map, reaching drivers on Waze, the world's largest community-based navigation application. And with that, I'd like to open it up for questions.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah. All right, as I stated before, if anybody has any questions about best practices for, how to develop a mobile app or, language choices or imaging or anything like that, you can enter it in the question box on the right-hand panel of your screen. We've already got a few questions that came in. So someone asked, what if we are already a Waze ad user? So if you have any best practices for someone maybe who's already Waze ads, I think that might help answer that question.
Sure. We do have different articles and information in our Help Center. I think one of the great things is that it's a very flexible platform to help people optimize over time, reaching people nearby their store. So it's hard to give general tips, but I would suggest making sure that you're reaching as many users as possible and that you're customizing your message, if you can, to the promotion that is going on in your store and or the time of day when your store is open. We find users love seeing relevant information, and they respond really well by rewarding those businesses with foot traffic.
Okay, and if you have a link maybe to those resources, Sarah, maybe you can send them to me in a follow-up email, and then I can send those along to everyone else as well. I think that might be helpful.
Sure thing.
Awesome. Okay, there are questions coming in here. So someone's saying, I am a small agency that has multiple clients who may benefit. Is there one dashboard, or does each business need their own? So I guess maybe that's a question about, can multiple businesses lump in and like do an ad together, or does everybody kind of have to have their own individual ad, or how does that kind of work?
We actually are working on solutions for companies like yours. I'll have Becky send along your contact information because we would love to work with you so that you can share best practices across your various customers and help us provide feedback on the platform.
Okay, that reminds me actually, that was another point I was going to bring up to everyone, that is if we don't get to all of your questions, I will be sending your questions along to Sarah so she can follow up individually as well if we don't get to you. Okay, so someone's asking, do you have design templates? So do you have templates that people can follow on Waze in case they don't really know how to make the best ad or anything like that?
That's a great question. Our ads are so unique that we've learned it really makes sense to help advertisers along. And we provide icons that we recommend using that are very clear to people as they're driving about the type of business that you have. And so as you work through the wizard, we can help you by providing guidance on the length of text and also by providing those graphic icons for your business.
Okay, awesome. And then there was another question, is there a way to focus in on certain demographics of maybe who your targeted audience is on Waze?
At this time, we don't target by demographic. One thing that we do is allow the ability to target not only by the size of your kind of radius, but depending on how many locations you have, to customize by day part. And if you have a lot of locations, we can also perhaps help with more advanced settings. So it really depends on the number of businesses and the specific needs. But generally, we try to customize for the driving audience as opposed to the demographic audience.
Okay. So another question, do you integrate with other marketing tools like ClickFunnels? I'm not sure if you're familiar with what that is. I am not, but if you have an answer to that question.
We actually don't at this point. We are a completely proprietary and separate system, but everything's available in our dashboard for export so that you can integrate it with your other metrics.
Okay. So you can, like, for example, with Google Analytics, like, is there a way that you can kind of like integrate, your information that you're getting from Waze, from who's like clicking on your ad and who's viewing your ad and things like that, and you can integrate that with Google Analytics, or how does all of that kind of work?
At this point, we don't integrate with Google Analytics because we reach people exclusively when they're driving. We don't actually set up your mobile website. And so what we can do is you can actually export kind of the performance of your ads and compare it to other campaign performance, but so we won't be serving up your actual ads website on mobile, so it won't be integrated with Google Analytics.
Okay, so someone also asked a good question. So what is it exactly that pops up when someone clicks on your icon? Like what is included there?
That's a great question. I showed a screenshot of Portillo's, which is a fantastic local chain in the Chicagoland area. And there you might have noticed that there's not only a P located on the map, which is their logo, but there was also a larger screen that came up. And that shows what happens when a user interacts with the business branded pin. The branded pin essentially marks your logo or place on the map with an icon so that drivers see that it's nearby. But we only show them additional information when they interact, and we call that a pin click. For the local customer, we allow space for your icon or logo, and also the ability for a customized message. And so you can include text on a local promotion. You can include something that's a custom offer for Waze users. Essentially, it allows you full flexibility within a certain text character limit.
So another great question that I just got too has more to do with the content. So it says, is the platform smart enough to have time-sensitive content? So can you customize your advertising so that if it's like Thanksgiving Day and you're having a special at your restaurant or something, that when someone sees it on the map, then they click on it, it's like a special Thanksgiving discount or deal or something, or is that not a possibility?
Yes, that's indeed a possibility, and we definitely recommend that. We've had a lot of luck for folks who are marketing around particular holidays, such as Mother's Day coming up this weekend. We highly recommend making the offers relevant to the upcoming holidays or even to the summer season when we know a lot more people are on the road taking vacations and road trips.
Okay. And then someone had another question. You mentioned marking your business on the Waze map. Do you need to be an advertiser to market? So are there any free options? Because obviously, you know, not everybody has the same budget for certain kinds of advertising options. So are there any options on Waze to just mark yourself on the map for free or anything like that, or do you have to pay for that advertising?
We actually don't show any brands or logos on the map unless you're advertising. We do have cross-used information to make sure all of our places information is correct. And so just like any other Waze user, you can submit information on a place, and our Waze editor community will make sure that that information is up to date.
Okay. And then I think another great question that someone was asking is kind of more general. So they're asking what other mobile apps are do this kind of thing. I mean, I know obviously you don't want to, talk too much about competitors or anything, but are there other options for people who maybe want to be kind of marked across the board that you would recommend?
That. I think it really acknowledges that it's a unique world nowadays where people are finding their way on mobile, but unfortunately we're the only application that's focused on the driving experience and allows. We're definitely working with other groups in the industry to share best practices, groups like the IAB and the Mobile Marketing Association. We do think there's a valid opportunity for businesses to always be present when users are looking, whether that's in a traffic or navigation app or whether it's a local restaurant finding app. There's really nobody else doing exactly what we're doing, but we think the opportunity to be unique and focused on a way that is integrated deeply into the app is what sets us apart. So I would mention a category that we're a part of if there was one. I think we view ourselves as having a very native experience, and there's no one else really doing that within the navigation or driving spot.
Okay. So I think another thing that might be important to mention too is for all of these people who might be interested in, having an app on Waze, is there anything that they should do before they, go in and decide to develop an app? Anything, or not an app, sorry, to develop an ad? Are there any steps they should take before doing that, like claiming their listing anywhere or making sure that all of their website content is, up to date? Like any sort of preliminary steps that you'd recommend?
That's a great question. Couple of thoughts there. One is a lot of times people will send us their logo without thinking about the fact that it may be a bit more complicated or complex based on it being used in different environments. And so we recommend sending us the simplest, cleanest version of your logo, not one with a complicated tagline or multiple colors, because this really is rendered and shown to users very quickly while they're driving. And so that's one thing, is we would recommend looking through your assets and having the simplest possible graphic to represent your business. The other thing would be, if you do offer a customized message, to make sure that your store personnel is aware of it. We have seen people come into stores with their Waze phone and show the in-app coupon or offer. I think it's a really neat opportunity to get some tracking on how well people transact in store as well. And that needs to be obviously shared through your operation. And having all those things set up before you go live is really key.
Okay. Well, everybody, you've had great questions so far. If there are any other lingering questions, I encourage you to put them in the question box. It doesn't necessarily have to be Waze specific. If you have questions about, mobile advertising in general, why you may or may not be interested in it, just let us know. So another question that I had is, I'm not sure if we kind of danced around this, so we didn't address it specifically. So can I customize my messaging to include a coupon or a special offer? And you sort of mentioned that when you were talking about, special days that come up, or holidays or things like that. But could you go into more detail on that, please?
Yes. We definitely can mention about an offer on the screen. I think what we've learned from working with businesses is that the key part there is to really make sure that you have a message that's easy enough for the user to remember or to refer to later, and that your store personnel is able to take advantage of. So having a simple code like Waze in your offer, as opposed to a complicated message, is really key for the success of any sort of coupon or special opportunity. We also do think it makes a lot of sense to tie into any major promotion you're doing. It doesn't need to be exclusive to Waze. So for example, if you have a special offer for Mother's Day or graduation and it's simple enough, it's definitely something that can do well on Waze. Historically, we've seen florists promote a dozen long stem roses for Mother's Day. That's an easy enough offer that people can remember and come in and say they saw it on Waze. We do really well with retail and restaurants, and because we're reaching 100% drivers, auto services do very, very well on bidding from fuel stations to car wash. There's lots of different ideas and opportunities. We'd love to hear from you.
I gotcha. Well, I have a question as well. Since people are driving when they see these ads, do they have to look at their phone and actually read, the information about the business, or does it how does that sort of work with trying to keep your eyes on the road and driving safety and things like that?
Yeah, so our pins appear on the map. Even before you start driving, you can see pins on the map. And when someone interacts is the only time that the ad actually is displayed. So that can certainly happen when there's a passenger in the car or when you're at a stop. Or again, as you're still getting going, the ads do show up. There's a big opportunity to do more and more research here, but what we've seen historically is that when we ask people which ads they've seen on Waze, they do recall seeing even the logo on the map, not just the expanded offer. People are using their phones to navigate, and so they're looking at the Waze application to see what the next turn is. The brand is clearly represented on the map. They'll easily recall that they saw that that's where your business was located. And so we've done a lot of people remember seeing the ads, even if it's just the branded pin, without you tapping and exploring further.
Okay. So also I want to remind everybody that we got a couple of questions where I think I'm just going to get a couple of links from Sara, resource links maybe on how to set up an ad and all those sorts of things. For anybody who is commenting and saying, I can't find how to do this, and you sound like you're doing it right now, I'll send you a couple of links in the as a follow-up in the email that you're going to get sometime tomorrow, which will also include a recording of this webinar, so you'll have that as well. But another question we got is the coupon set up in the click pop section or the takeover section? So it sounds like this person's in there right now. Does that question make sense to you, Sarah?
You should be able to sign up directly using that specific link. So if you're not seeing that, you may need to go back in and re-enter. And again, I'll go back to that slide so you can see it. We've set up a short link at goo.gl/ capital J, capital P, capital N, JME. And we'll make sure that that is both sent out in the text of the email and that link is something you can just click on.
Perfect. All right, so I think I just have one more question, so we'll start wrapping things up. Unless anybody else has last-minute questions, please include them in the question bar. But I think we've addressed most. So my last one of my last questions is about the reporting that you'll get after you set up an ad on Waze. So what kind of information are you going to get on, who's been clicking on your ad? Are you going to get information on like when they clicked or where they were coming from or anything like that? Like, can you tell me some more details on what you'll get there?
Yeah, so when you log in with Waze Local, you'll be given access to a dashboard, so you can log in at any time. And in that dashboard, you'll be able to see all the aggregated and anonymized information. It won't show you who clicked, which is one of the, it'll show you how many people interacted, and you can sort that based on time of exposure. And depending on how many locations, you can sort by location and other parameters. So it's a pretty flexible system. I know we had at least one person on the call who mentioned that they would represent multiple clients, and that's available, in the dashboard as well. So it's very, very customizable, and we can send links both for a multi-client situation and also for a single or, smaller local chain in the follow-up email.
So I actually got 2 inquiries now about multi-location. So that would be great, and I can send that along to those individuals. Okay, so as we kind of wrap things up here and everybody can get back to their day, do you have any sort of last-minute advice or tips that you want to leave with people before we kind of conclude?
I think what's really, really key to know is that Waze is unique because we reach people in-app at a time when historically you haven't been able to reach drivers without purchasing radio or having a billboard. And so as you think about how different the world is with everyone on their mobile, it's important to do as much as you can to think through how unique every opportunity is and get that education. And we have a blog as well as a Twitter handle and a LinkedIn account, all of which can help you think through the best way to activate your local business. So I'd advise you to take a look. We are on Twitter at Waze Ads. We are on LinkedIn as well. Or you can check out our website, which is at biz.waze.com, where you can find out more, as well as see our blog called The Compass.
Okay, great. So if you could just take me to the last slide, please, Sarah. I'm going to wrap things up here. So I just wanted to thank everybody so much for joining us today. Thank you for being so engaged in all your questions. Like I said, you will receive a follow-up email tomorrow sometime, which will have the recording of this webinar. You can look back on that. And then with anyone who has, more questions that maybe we didn't get to today, I would encourage you to email me at info@marketingbitz.com, and I'll make sure that Sarah gets your questions. And then other than that, I think we're pretty much done. So have a great day, everybody, and thank you again, Sarah.
Thank you.